Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful, beautiful night. This for February 25th, 2024. Come up with the podcast. The online harms bill, C36, is going to be read in Parliament tomorrow, and an additional $3 billion to Ukraine while our troops get tampons. Oh, the sweet irony. All that and more come up with the podcast. Please stick around. Listener and viewer discretion may be advised because I might swear, I might smoke a cigarette, I might make a funny face or two. Please stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 263 for this beautiful February 25th, 2024. I am your host, Crusty Canuck, and thank you all for the wonderful comments I received in my last video. Pardon me for having some issues with my audio. I think my internet connection was a little faulty. Needless to say, I am here in person now. I did a sound check, the test, and everything. Everything seems good to go for now, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, this podcast is also brought to you in part and supported by the Veterans for Freedom TV Stand 2 coming soon. Look for my YouTube page and my Facebook page, respectively, for updates on that. Basically, it'll be a big network brought to you by veterans like myself and others to keep you informed and keep you entertained. That's Veterans for Freedom TV coming soon. Anyway, like I said, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content on all of your social media platforms too. Please do not forget to comment. Give me a thumbs up too. It helps the algorithm. That's one of the reasons why I'm talking about Bill C36 that's in our way. We've already had to deal with Bill C11, C18, and Bill C36. Now, the Online Harms Act is basically meant to protect children. That is the excuse that our liberal overlords are trying to tell us and trying to give us on a daily basis because of certain sextortion issues that are happening with some young men and some young women. And basically, there's just too much garbage on the net today, kind of like television. But then again, our overlords think that we need some kind of regulation and guidance to tell us what we can see online and what we can do online too. Now, I'll summarize it for you as all out there. Bills C11, C18, and C36 have basically promoted nothing but censorship. Now, you may beg to differ if you're one of those pearl-clutching liberals out there that think that everything is hunky-dory and you shouldn't say bad words and you shouldn't say bad things about people as you type and all this, keyboard warriors and all alike. Then maybe the internet's not for you. Maybe you shouldn't be online speaking your mind. Maybe you shouldn't speak your mind at all. Maybe you should go live in a bubble in a 15-minute city like the overlords want us to do. And everything's just hunky-dory, paradise. Everything's just fine. Everything's lovey-dovey and everyone gets along. There's no bad words at all and you'll never, ever, ever be offended again. Or you could show your kids the difference between reality and what's online. You can show your kids that this is not acceptable in this household and you'll not be accessing these pages on this computer, especially if mom and dad are paying for the internet connection, right? That's self-explanatory. Now, I am all for protecting kids. I am all for protecting children from some really stupid stuff out there. I could blame TikTok for some of the stupid stuff out there that teaches kids that you have to be a Barbie doll or a Ken doll to get ahead in today's world. Or we could have some father figures out there and some mother figures out there teach kids properly how to do things, right? And if that means mom and dad's got to work a bit harder to do it, so be it. My parents taught me simple ethics. You don't judge a book by its cover, right? Regardless of what you're attracted to, because sometimes the attractive people out there tend to be real douchebags, and it doesn't matter what gender or how they identify, right? So my thing to the government is this: if you're going to sit and promote these online harms acts or whatever you're protecting kids, you're not doing a very good job, because you sit there and say you want to protect children, but you don't mind kids going under the knife in the name of gender affirmation. right? Do you not see the contradictions there? They're going right in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. All this information that has been submitted to you for your approval. Well, they don't care if you approve of it or not. They're just going to go ahead and do it anyway. So I hope to gods, whatever gods are out there, that the Senate doesn't allow this bill to go through. And I don't care if you lean on the left. I don't care if you lean on the right. I don't care if you lean upside down or backwards or 2 times Tuesday. It's basically a censorship bill. Now, I'll put an article up here from Global News in regards to what they want to do. And it's basically just a word salad, ladies and gentlemen. It has nothing to do with protecting me, you, little Billy down the road, or the 6-year-old kid that likes watching TikTok videos of little cute animals dancing or not. My wife sends me the odd video of a cute little animal here or a cute animal there, and that's fine. I don't care. Puts a smile on my face. It's all good. Okay. But there are predators out there. There are creatures out there that can do some real nasty things if they had the chance. Now, my logic is this. If the federal government can close bank accounts and pinpoint who gives $10 or $20 or $30 to a noble cause, such as a trucker's convoy, they can bloody well pinpoint some kind of criminal or some kind of cretin or some kind of lowlife, whether they're male or female, that has some kind of sexual trafficking on their mind. Simple enough. You would think, okay, that they have the ability to do that. With the amount of cyber crimes that have gone on since the internet's inception that has been made and been given to the masses, how many cyber crimes have been going on? Quite a bit. People extorting money, Nigerian princes claiming this, Nigerian princes claiming that, people falling for it, love scams, real estate scams, vacation scams, time-sharing scams, and now predatory minds out there harming kids, right? So which is it? I'm just going to tell you basically the way I summarize all these bills that have come in the past couple of years in regards to what we do online. It's censorship. That's all it is. They don't want guys like me speaking his mind. They don't want Veterans for Freedom speaking their mind. They want Tamara Litch speaking their mind. They don't want Northern Perspective speaking their mind. Radioreaction speaking their mind. All the people I have met, Clyde Do Something, Vesper, Marty up north, all the guys I have met and talked with, they don't want them speaking their minds, right? And you notice, too, that UK is pushing on online harms bill, too. And some of our American friends are, too. So you can see things in the bigger picture, how they're going along and trying to make sure that everyone's safe, right? Which is still a contradiction to our politicians in this country, because if they really wanted to make us safe, they would pinpoint the baddies and leave the innocent people alone. Kind of like how they're treating guns in this country, right? And the OPP just recently busted something about 263 guns in the Greater Toronto area with the assistance of our American friends at Homeland Security. 263, apparently, that were confiscated because they're being trafficked into the intercity. So what does that tell you? Right? What does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? So guys like me who own guns and my friends who hunt and everybody else who sport shoots, I guess we're the criminals, according to them. Well, the OPP just proved them wrong.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. You're back to episode 263 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. And this beautiful 25th of February, 2024. Online harms, C36, and $3 billion to Ukraine. More money given to our friends in Ukraine. When our men and women have to suffer through tampons in the men's washroom, Canada will be there to support another war without supporting our troops. Isn't that just fun, eh? Oh, yes. Round of applause and a round of clap for those individuals that have made those decisions on our behalf to make the world a safer place. I tell you, crack don't smoke itself. If you like to hear what you see, ladies and gentlemen, please click like and subscribe. Share this content all over your social media platforms. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment too, especially my Rumblers out there. I'm having some issues with my Rumble page. And yes, to say, if you see my show on Rumble, give me a comment, give me a like, whatever. Share it all around too. The more people comment and interact with this, the easier it's going to get for the Canadian algorithm. So other Canucks and other like-minded individuals can watch my show, give me their 2 cents worth, and then, hey, that's fine. Bob's your uncle. It's that simple. If you don't even like my show, please give me a comment too, whatever. Just make sure if you approach me with some kind of fact or you want to debate me on something, make sure you got your facts together first. Don't clench your pearls. Don't hold on to your balls, your mangina, and try to tell me that the sun is the moon's the sun to further a narrative, because I'm not going to buy it, ladies and gentlemen, and neither should you. Anyway, carrying on with this episode. So, as I said, the online harms bill is coming, and here's a little excerpt from the global page there too. I'll just read along. I'll leave the link in my description for you to follow, ladies and gentlemen. But needless to say, it's just a lot of word salad. So I'll read it for you, and then you can decide. I'm not going to sit and, hope that there's some common sense that will prevail, because it won't prevail. Not with this government. Excuse me. But this is from Global from 4 days ago. Right. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is promising that his government's upcoming bill to legislate against online harms will focus on making internet safer for minors while not censoring it the rest for Canadians. Yeah, bullshit. Speaking in Edmonton, Trudeau announced the Liberals will table the long-promised legislation as soon as next week, adding in French that it could come in several weeks. Oh, that's right. I'm here for your safety, everybody. Members of Parliament are currently on a break week. Another break? Really? Come on, clowns. The House of Commons is scheduled to resume on Monday for 1 week and then on again until mid-March. Oh, they of course need time to recalibrate and count their money, right? Trudeau characterized legislation as being difficult to write because of the need to strike the right balance between protecting Canadians' freedom of expression and instituting measures to better protect children. Bullshit. He vowed to the bill would be very specifically focused on protecting kids and not censoring the internet. Kids are vulnerable online to hatred, to violence, to being bullied and being affected by terrible things online, said Trudeau. We need to do a better job as a society of protecting our kids online, and we want protecting the schoolyards in our communities and our homes and across the country, of course. Yes. Yes, but you won't protect kids from online predators, though, and you won't protect kids from predators in the schools and in the administrations, but that's different. I'm digressing. Trudeau first promised a measure during the 2019 federal election campaign, but a bill targeting online hate speech died in the order paper when he triggered an early election in 2021. Hate speech. Hate speech is a broad term, ladies and gentlemen. It's that simple, just a broad term. Right? He then promised to retable the bill within the first 100 days of his new mandate, but failed to do so. See, he's failed to do so because they're clenching and they're grasping straws, because he knows he sucks in the polls, ladies and gentlemen. Trudeau's government presented a proposal that year outlining the approach it planned to take to legislate against 5 categories of online harms: content that incited violence, the non-consensual sharing of intimate images, child exploitation, hate speech, and terrorist content. I can understand the terrorist content, ladies and gentlemen, but when it comes to intimate images, why the hell are some of these kids taking intimate images to begin with? Right? You hear about it all the time. Oh, it was on my phone. Oh, I took this snap. I did this. Smarten up. It's that simple. Right? Many critics voiced concern that the range of content was too diverse and could create problems when it came to determining what fell into each category. Exactly. What will fall into each category? Organizations like the National Council of Canadian Muslims also expressed worries that efforts to target terrorism-related online content could disproportionately affect the members. Yeah, because of stereotypes. Right. Privacy experts and civil liberties groups also roundly criticized, and rightfully so, the earlier proposal of giving online platforms just 24 hours to remove content flagged as harmful. Okay, so what is harmful? Well, what's hateful? It's a broad term. You don't like what I have to say? Well, you have a choice. You don't listen to it. You either give me a counterpoint, engage me in a conversation and dialogue and debate, or you leave it alone. You walk away. Just put it in your mouth, let it melt, and walk away. There you go. Such a threshold would have risked encouraging companies to take an overly cautious approach, removing acceptable material preemptively for fear of running afoul of the rules, they warned. The government ultimately went back to the drawing board and assembled a new group of cybersecurity, online safety, and other experts, there's a word, experts, boys and girls, to advise it on how best to proceed. The upcoming legislation is now expected to pave the way for a new ombudsman person to field the public concerns about online content, as well as new regulatory role, regulatory role that would oversee the conduct of internet platforms. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave this article in the description. You can read along too, but there are some key words in there that proved to be ineffective. Regulatory. An ombudsman to oversee. We don't need people to oversee what we type, what we say, what we do. We don't need that oversight. Okay? So my suggestion is this, ladies and gentlemen, let mom and dad supervise. There are parental controls. There are locks you can do. There's software you can buy that can prevent little Billy seeing them boobies. or prevent little Betty from seeing that thing. Okay? And you can prevent that certain harassment too. You just might have to work harder at it. Okay? Since I started my podcast, I've had lots of comments from people that have said this about my toque, said this about my face, said that about the color of my skin, my profession, right? Call me a boomer. I've been called lots of names. And guess what? I'm still here, right? So if it means mom and dad's got to step up to the plate and protect their kids from online harm, so be it. God, I remember in the 80s when people were so upset over TV shows and music, right? And what people were saying on the radio. Oh my God, how dare he say that? How dare she say that? What do you mean by that? Oh my goodness, I'm so offended. Great. You have every right to be offended, have every right to be concerned. That doesn't mean someone should lose their job over it. That doesn't mean you should pull your hair out and lose your shit. I'm all for protecting kids too. But I also believe in teaching your kids what is right and what is wrong. Proving your moral compass so they can grow up and decide how to shape their own without having to nurse and nurture and hover all the time. That's what this government wants to do. They're not protecting your children. They're not protecting a goddamn thing. They're just against speech they don't like in the guise of Bill C36.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, you are back to Crusty Canuck Podcast, episode 263 for this beautiful February 25th. 2024. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this podcast, all of your social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, spread the word, spread the wealth per se, without, reaching into your wallet and giving money away. But if you would like to donate, pardon the pun there, pardon the little segue there. If you'd like to donate, please click on the links in my description. Everybody who donates gives me a hand. That helps me create more content. Things are getting tight in my life right now. Mr. Taxman's riding my ass again, but it's not your fault. It's not my brother's fault, not my wife's fault, not my sister's fault. It's the government's fault. But if you do want to donate, please consider donating today. I would like to make this podcast a little more lucrative. I've been at it for about 5 years now, so every little bit helps, ladies and gentlemen. That's if you want to. I'm not going to sit and demand cash. I'm not going to do an OnlyFans page and show off my toes, right, or my things. Anyhow. Enough of that shit. Anyhow, if you want to donate, please donate. If not, that's fine too. Please check out my shop as well too. Get yourself a Crusty Canuck t-shirt, ball cap, drinking flask, other items there too. Summer's coming, so you ladies want to grab yourselves a Crusty Canuck swimsuit, feel free to as well. But there'll be some more updates coming up with the store, and I'm trying to reprogram this. I'm going to aim for doing 3 times a week too, ladies and gentlemen. So stay tuned to my community page on YouTube, as well as my Facebook page for updates as well. Just because of my work schedule and other things I do outside the podcast, like I do a lot of writing, I do a lot of creative writing, I write screenplays. So I'm trying to find the time to make sure I get enough episodes out there for you wonderful people, and trying to keep myself keep my head above water without going into debt, keeping the bills paid, keeping the lights on, and keep making this podcast for you wonderful folks out there too. So stay tuned to my community pages, and we'll go from there, ladies and gentlemen, too. So anyway, carrying on with this episode 263, online harms. That's right, Bill C36. I ran enough about that. It's just a basic censorship bill in the name of safety, and $3 billion to Ukraine. So as I mentioned in the opening, okay, the Prime Minister basically just guaranteed $3 billion in aid, security, weapons, all that good stuff. $3 billion. And you've heard me rant and rage about how even the time I was in the military, how things weren't there, how the procurement process is such a joke in this country because there's too many damn boards that sit and oversee and regulate what we should get as kit. And too many bean counters, too many bureaucrats and admins alike. And unfortunately, when our brass gets up there, they don't become leaders. They become politicians themselves. So it's a damn shame. And this country is facing a crisis when it comes to food banks, housing, housing the migrants, housing people that come in and housing regular citizens, ladies and gentlemen. There's still an issue with First Nations water. Why has that not been resolved? There's still an issues with seniors' pensions, right? You've got the environment ministers and ministers alike that are pushing this heat pump bullshit down people's throats, as well as worrying about environmental racism and other stupid things like that. Stephen Gobo the other day even mentioned something about roads, how he wasn't going to fund roads. And yet that's not a federal issue. That's more a provincial, municipal issue. Roads is not a big deal. But to make a long story short, he's on this environmental kick and we should all comply to his way or else we should face the dire consequences, jawohl. Interesting. Where's Audie Johnson when you need him, right? You know, I know some of my audience out there remembers the show Laughing. I remember seeing reruns as a kid. My parents used to tune into it regularly back in the 1960s because it was breaking comedy. Anyway, I digress. Carrying on. So when they worry about $3 billion to Ukraine, it kind of annoys me because I do feel bad for the Ukrainian people fighting the Russian onslaught. But we have all this money to give away to a proxy war. We have all this time and effort to give kit and ammunition and more cash. And yet we can't even suffice our own, ladies and gentlemen. Why is that? Why do we not have a government in this country that wants to look at our military and treat it as an equal asset as they would treat the fisheries and oceans or other ministerial positions? We've got all these inclusion ministries. We've got all these diversity ministries. But we can't look after our troops because they want to spend more time about more diversity and inclusion with them as well. That's your little story. The 20 years I was in, there was quite a diverse mix of people. Male, female, gay, straight, black, white, French, English, Asian, East Indian, Uruguayan, Paraguayan, Argentinian, French from France, right? Jamaican, Korean, Japanese, Chinese. Quite a few people that I have met from all walks of life in my 20 years of service. And I didn't worry about what their sexuality was or how they identified. I saw one color. You know what that color was? Wait for it. The color of our uniform, the CAD-PAT. It was olive dab green, but it was also CAD-PAT later on after 2002. So when people keep harping about our military needs this, our military needs that, they're deflecting from the fact of what we really need. Our military needs the ability to defend this country. Have you seen the landmass of Canada? Have you seen how much territory this country has? How much area, how much land full of untapped potential that would help our First Nations out, full of untapped potential that would help ourselves out. That must be defended because Russia has sticky fingers. So does China. And we should do something about it. But no. Let's give away $3 billion. Again, $3 billion we probably don't have to borrow it again. And then we'll make people wait in lines for food. We'll make migrants wait in gymnasiums and dormitories. We'll up student tuition and we'll up the taxes because come this April 1st, guess what? There's another raise coming up to the MPs, okay, in Ottawa. All right. From their base salary, they're jumping from $193,000 to $202,000 per year. And shadow ministers go up another $8,000. And other ministers go up another $8,000. And the prime minister makes a cool $450,000 a year. Right? But we can give away $3 billion to a country. $3 billion, just like lickety split. But we can't invest properly in our services. What does it tell you about the government? Now, the Conservatives are just as bad for this, too. I remember when Harper was in. Okay, spending was getting up there because we were actually in combat. We were fighting an enemy. So we needed kit. We needed the equipment. Right? So spending was increasing. Not as quick as it should have, but it was getting better than what was in the 90s, and especially in the 80s. But people don't look at the Canadian military as they should look at the Canadian military. It's still a military. Regardless of the peacekeeping history or not, okay, that's history. Okay, that model is null and void now. That model is obsolete. So if there's any individuals watching this podcast right now who happen to be Canadian and are surprised to the fact that, oh, we've got a military, and or surprised to the fact that, oh, we're not peacekeepers, then you better go give your teachers a good slap upside the head for lying to your faces.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 263 of the Crusty Canuck podcast, online Harms Bill C36 and $3 billion to Ukraine. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Like what you see, like I can hear what you see. Please click like and subscribe and share this content all over your social media platforms. Don't be shy. If you feel like donating, please click on the links in the description for you can donate. Help Crusty Canuck out to make some good money at this job. I do put some work in this, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like I just sit around and pick my nose and go, oh, I think I'll make a podcast. I actually sit and pick articles and read them and what I want to display for you in format and all this stuff upstairs. So it takes me a good hour to get something on the go before I start recording this show. But I will put this video up here for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is from CP24, Old City TV. There used to be something there, but I'll play this for you. And then you decide on just some of the BS that's coming from our government when it comes to looking after other people rather than, helping Canada out. Not that I mind helping other people, but we got to start looking after Canada too, right? That would be the logical thing. But whoever said, the Canadian government was ever logical, right?
Country, Prime Minister Trudeau signed a new $3 billion funding deal with Ukraine's president. CTV's Heather Wright is in Kyiv and joined CP24 earlier to discuss this new agreement.
Canada has signed an agreement with Ukraine pledging $3.02 billion in 2024. It's officially called the Agreement on Security Cooperation between Canada and Ukraine, and it outlines a number of different ways that Canada is going to support Ukraine in this coming year. Some of it is militarily, other is financial, providing financial aid to help bolster the Ukrainian economy as it continues to fight this war against Russia. We just wrapped a press conference here where Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was joined by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, as well as the President of the EU and leaders from Belgium and Italy. And a question that was asked of the Ukrainian president over and over is this kind of aid that Canada has pledged today, is it getting to Ukraine fast enough? Now, Zelensky was very polite in saying that he's, of course, grateful for all the assistance that Ukraine has received from its international allies, but did concede that at times it is not coming as quickly as it needs to be.
2 years ago, Putin invaded Ukraine. Bombs rained down across the country. Civilians were targeted, and Putin was sure he could easily take strategic targets like this airport. Russian forces tried to make quick work of Hostomel Airport, and with it, Kyiv. Well, we are standing here today because he was wrong, like he has been wrong on so many things.
Other leaders who made the trip include Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo, and former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, as well as European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Now, she says that the world will be forever grateful to Ukraine.
Those fateful moments are etched forever in our collective memory. The flames rising from the tarmac to the sky, the swarms of Russian helicopters flying low along the river, the columns of tanks descending fast from the border with Belarus. Exactly 2 years ago, it felt like everything was lost and Kyiv would fall within days. But Kyiv stood strong. Your courage stood in Putin's way. You did not flee or flinch.
Russian President Vladimir Putin launched this long-feared invasion on February 24, 2022. The incursion soon evolved into a full-scale war and now has no end in sight. Despite strong support from Western countries, delays, including $60 billion worth of stalled U.S. help, of frustrating Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Well, just last week, Zelensky warned allies that an artificial deficit of arms risks giving Russia a dangerous advantage.
See, that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's just sad. You know, I'm not shitting on the Ukraine people. I'm not shitting on anyone who has to suffer through a conflict. But we have a government that doesn't want to look after its own people, and they'd rather just do that for virtue points. That's just my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. You know, to my Ukrainian Canadian listeners out there, if you're offended by this comment, I'm sorry, but I've experienced battle, I've experienced warfare, and I've experienced that kind of hell and chaos. And I don't want to see it again. And it's not right that we have leaders that we have elected in this country that want to promote that proxy BS. Right? It's that simple. My heart goes out to those individuals that are taking a stand and fighting the good fight. But I also know, too, through certain little birds out there, that the logistics issue is a big, big deal, because there's kit and equipment that has been allotted to some of those individuals, but they just don't show up for some reason. And there's certain cash monies that are put aside to help this, to help that, and it's disappeared. So it's getting harder and harder every day to really, really trust the system when you've got good common people in that country fighting an onslaught. So you got to look hard at leadership and look at the decisions they're making on our behalf, ladies and gentlemen. And we got to start standing up to it too. Like I said, April 1st, they're all getting fancy raises, little perks and privileges just for being elected, for being there, for doing nothing. Like I said, they're off right now, right? They just had 6 weeks off for Christmas. So where are the fucking priorities, eh? Where are they? They're not for you or me. They're not with our families or their families. They're with their own lining their pockets and their own agendas. And I will say that to some conservative politicians too. Okay? Not just the liberals, not the NDPers, not the progressives that clench their pearls and worry more about rainbow flags than actual security and freedom in this country. Okay? I'm getting sick and tired of the status quo agendas that are constantly being rammed down our throats in the name of progress, in the name of diversity and inclusion. Oh, we're inclusive, but we don't want to include your point of view. Oh, we're inclusive, but we don't like what you say. Walking contradictions everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. And enough is enough. It's that simple. So let's hope they do call an election in the spring. Get rid of this garbage, and maybe new garbage will fix it up. Or maybe something else will come in line. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anyhow, I have been Crusty Canuck on this 25th of February, 2024. I wish nothing but good things for you all out there. I will have a Tuesday rant coming this Tuesday, so stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for updates as they come along. Like I said, I'm going to try to do episodes 3 times out of the week in the near future, so hang on to that too. And if you like and hear what you see, click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you feel like donating, donate if you'd like to. Check out my shop, buy some Crusty Canuck swagger, and spread the word, ladies and gentlemen. Special thank you out there to my friends at Northern Perspective, Radioreaction, Clyde Do Something, Vesper, Marty up north, Tamara Litch, and everybody else who follows me on Twitter. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Fantastic. Keep the dreams alive, all that good stuff. And to my new listeners from the United States, from Ireland, Wales, and I actually found out that there's more in Australia downloading the Crusty Canuck podcast. So thank you very much from the Great White North. You guys are awesome too. Check out my Podbean page to get the podcast there at random or wherever else you find your podcast. Just type in Crusty Canuck podcast and you will find it practically everywhere. Like I said, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 25th of February, 2024. I will be around this Tuesday for another Tuesday rant and more information and something to rant about. But like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, look after your friends and each other in these trying times. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you Tuesday. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Oh, govern me harder, Daddy, please. Thank you.